What's up, my homies? Kawaii50 here with another FGO video, here to talk to you about, you guessed it, Marie Antoinette in her caster incarnation. If this video helps you out, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for some more FGO content. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at Fantastic Marie. So with Marie's stats, she is so set when it comes to being a caster that it kind of borders on ridiculous. She's got a quick Arts Buster deck with an Arts Noble Phantasm, and all of her Arts cards hit a whopping 5 times. So NP gain, even though her NP per hit is at 0.32%, that's not really going to be too much of an issue for her. Also, looking at some of her other stats, she does have a max attack of 9,060, but to be honest, when you're looking at a caster, especially a support caster, as Marie Antoinette is designed, you're going to find that out very soon down below, she is not really going to need that attack stat, so you don't got to worry about it. What is nice though is her max HP sitting at an 11,404. This is going to allow her to stay alive just a bit longer. And Marie's passives only deserve a quick mention just because she has the skill I wish every single caster in the game had, and that is Territory Creation rank A, increasing her arts card effectiveness by 10%. When you've got 3 arts cards and an Arts Noble Phantasm, that's a very wonderful thing to have. Marie's first skill is Beach Flower, rank A+. This increases the attack of all allies by 9.5 to 19.5% for 3 turns, and it also increases the critical star drop rate of all male allies by 3 turns, and this is at a 21 to 41% increase. With this skill being on such a low cooldown at only 5 turns, this is really a skill we want to make sure we focus on. Not only when it comes to leveling up skills, yes, you're going to level this up first, but we're also going to be focusing on this skill when it comes to the allies portion of this video. So remember this skill when we're talking about those allies. Marie's second skill is Sparkling Sunflower, rank A. This increases her star region by 5 to 10 stars per turn for 3 turns, and also helps her recover 500 to 1,000 HP every turn for 3 turns. Now, this is on a 7-turn cooldown, which for some can feel a little long, but it's still a very, very powerful skill that we are going to build on when it comes to Marie Antoinette's craft essence selection. So to make sure you're able to get the most stars possible, I would recommend maxing this skill second. That HP recovery, while nice, is just gravy. And Marie's final skill is Beautiful Princess C, rank A. This gives her invincibility for 3 attacks and also increases her debuff resist by 30 to 50% for 3 turns on a 6-turn cooldown. Now, it's really nice that Marie has a survivability skill. This is going to allow her to stay around longer, generate more stars, have more opportunities to increase the attack of your allies in those longer challenge quest fights. But considering the amount of times Marie's going to have invincibility does not go up with how many points you put into this skill, I'm going to definitely recommend that you level it last. Debuff resist, not really as good of a stat as it could be. And Marie's Noble Phantasm is Crystal Dress, rank A. This deals 450 to 750% damage to all enemies, and also decreases their crit chance by 20% for 3 turns. But what is honestly most important about this Noble Phantasm is its overcharge bonus. This increases the critical strength of all of your allies by 20 to 40% for 3 turns based on that level of overcharge. So based on the allies we're going to be giving Marie Antoinette, we're going to focus on servants completely designed around dealing some crit damage. Very, very important we have that crit damage focus. So when it comes to Marie Antoinette's Noble Phantasm, I would actually recommend you put it at the very end of your Noble Phantasm chains whenever possible, just so you can maximize that critical strength boost on your allies. Because most of their damage is not going to come from their Noble Phantasm, it's going to come from their crits. So being able to increase the critical strength of your allies by the maximum amount is going to be the key to optimizing your overall damage. Craft essence selection for Marie Antoinette is very, very easy. We want to, whenever possible, focus on stars per turn. Because her star generating skill is on such a long cooldown, any extra stars we can pull out of her are going to be a bonus. So if you're looking for a great freebie option for her, I've got to recommend His Rightful Place. If you're watching this video right when it comes out, we've got a rerun of the Fate Zero Excel Order event coming out fairly soon after this video drops, so you are going to have a good chance to get a copy of this freebie craft essence. You're going to be getting some extra stars per turn, and on top of that, it provides Marie with a starting Noble Phantasm gauge. So she's going to be able to use Crystal Dress and grant her allies that critical strength boost much faster. Of course, if you're looking to completely maximize her, I would highly, highly recommend a Fragment of 2030. You know how good this is. 8 to 10 stars per turn is just absolutely insane. If you've got it, put it on Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette is going to be at her absolute best when you end up pairing her with critical damage focused servants that are males, so they can get the full benefit of that crit star drop bonus on her first buff. Now, she'll work with absolutely any of them. It doesn't matter. She's very flexible in that regard. But just for the sake of brevity when it comes to this video, I'm going to recommend 2 3 stars, 2 4 stars, and 2 5 stars to sort of round out your overall list. If you've got one of these characters, great. If not, remember, absolutely any of those characters work. So if you've got a recommendation, chuck it down in the comment section below. For the 3-star recommendations, I've picked Billy the Kid as well as Okada Izo. What makes Billy the Kid so powerful is the fact that he has 2 independent critical strength buffs he's able to give himself. If you're able to stack them both on top of each other, that is a whopping 152% bonus to critical strength, which allows Billy the Kid to put out some really insane burst damage numbers. Adding a little bit of extra crit damage on that is just going to make those numbers climb even higher. As far as Okada Izo goes, I know a lot of people really like to use him for overall challenge quests, focusing on fighting powerful servants and dealing a lot of extra damage. And Okada actually has 2 separate critical strength buffs available to him as well, much in the fashion of Billy the Kid. Now, this overall bonus isn't going to be nearly as powerful, only an overall 62% increase, but because his Manslayer skill comes with increased damage to humanoids tacked onto it, you can still expect Okada to put out some really impressive numbers, especially for a 3-star. For our 4 stars, I am choosing to mention who I believe are the best 4-star critical strength focused servants in the game, and that is Saber Lancelot as well as Ashwatthama. Saber Lancelot, if you've been playing this game for a long period of time, you know how powerful Saber Lancelot is. Knight of Owner is an absolutely absurd skill, granting him 15 stars per turn and an extra 50% to his critical damage when the skill is completely maxed out. He's able to overall generate his own critical stars, he can increase his critical star gather rate, and deal extra damage to his opponents, and apply that debuff to the enemy for 5 turns, increasing just the overall effectiveness of your party. He is honestly, I would say, one of the best sabers in the entire game. And when it comes to Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama is also just designed to crit as well on a fundamental level. He's got a passive 12% increase to his critical strength, he's got a passive 10% increase to his buster crit strength, and he also has the ability to increase the critical strength of his quick cards specifically. Ashwatthama has a ton of crit potential, and he is honestly not worth skipping in my opinion. He is just that good. Now, NA's gonna have to wait a little bit for one of these 5-star characters, but I really feel like I've got to mention him when it comes to Marie Antoinette, and the other servant I'm mentioning is the one I consider the most powerful servant coming out this year. So I've got to mention Qin Shi Huang as well as Superhuman Orion. Now, why is Qin Shi Huang so powerful? Well, he's a ruler, obviously, so you might not think he's a super strong critical strength contender, but you would honestly be kind of wrong. His Noble Phantasm, the Domination Beginning, grants him an extra 50 to 100% critical damage, depending on how much you have invested in his Noble Phantasm. That's all it's tied to. It's not tied to overcharge. What's tied to overcharge is the attack increase he gets from it, which is still at base a 50%. Now, when it comes to class advantage, disadvantage, just being a neutral damage dealer all around, it's really not that big a deal for Qin Wang. He's still going to be able to deal out some impressive numbers, and for a lot of players, he has become the go-to character when it comes to challenge quests and when it comes to soloing challenge quests. He is just very, very strong. And I definitely feel a need to mention Superhuman Orion because he is arguably the most powerful archer in the game. If someone made the claim he's the most powerful archer in the game, I would be hard-pressed not to agree with them. For first of all, let's take a look at his noble phantasm. Artemis Agnos gives him a 30 to 50% attack boost, gives him 3 turns of Ignore Invincible, 3 turns of Debuff Immunity, 3 turns where he generates 10 critical stars per turn, and then tied to his overcharge is an ability that increases critical strength by 100 to 200% for 3 turns. He's got an ability to increase his own attack by 10 to 20%, and he's got another critical strength boost on top of that. Now, only affects Buster cards one time. One time it will increase their critical strength 3 times over 3 turns. I know it's a mouthful, it's just kind of how the skill works, but that crit damage boost is 50 to 100%. And gang, you can just go down the YouTube rabbit hole and check out some videos. You'll see Orions just straight up punching their enemies in the millions of damage. It's really an absolute spectacle to see this guy put in some of the work that he does. So if you're looking for a crit servant to pair with Marie Antoinette, Superhuman Orion, really, really good bet. Finally, when it comes to command codes with Marie Antoinette, I chose command codes for her that are completely based around generating extra critical stars, because that's what Marie Antoinette is. She is a crit support, so granting your team extra critical stars just by existing is going to make them overall more effective. So for my first pick here, I've got 2 4-stars as well as 1 5-star. Cosmos Voyager's License grants you 2 critical stars when attacking using the engraved card, and has an added effect of removing 1 debuff when attacking using the engraved card. So we're talking poisons, we're talking burns, and we are talking curses. Marie Antoinette will be able to cleanse those from herself and stay alive a little longer. The Spear of Love, Conduct, and Wisdom grants you 2 critical stars, just like the Cosmos License I mentioned, but also increases the damage against enemies with the Charm debuff by 20%. This is not really as effective as Cosmos Voyager's License. You're not going to have those opportunities to deal damage to Charm when it comes to just using Marie Antoinette, but those extra stars are still nice to have. And finally, I want to mention Holy Knight's Aurora Borealis. Grants 4 critical stars when attacking using the engraved card. Simple, sweet, effective. I don't need to waste your time anymore with this. Overall, Marie Antoinette is a fantastic addition to critical strength teams and is really an excellent pick when it comes to filling out those slots. She does have to rely on her Noble Phantasm to give the rest of her allies a critical strength buff, but honestly, it's okay, especially when it comes to arts teams when you're just going to be gaining Noble Phantasm out the yin-yang. I would absolutely recommend her as one of the best allies you could give Saber Lancelot. If you know how to use her correctly, if you know what teams to put her in, she is going to be incredibly effective. But if your team is not designed around critical strength and critical damage, if you focus more on getting your damage out of, say, Noble Phantasms or something like that, then it is better to just keep Marie Antoinette on the bench. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so go ahead and let me know your thoughts about Summer Marie Antoinette down in the comments section below. I know I said she could work very well with all of the male crit damage dealers, but obviously I wasn't able to mention them all due to time. So go ahead and give me any of your personal picks down there in the comments as well. If you like the job I'm doing, consider hitting me up on Patreon. All of the support is always helpful, and I appreciate every bit of it. And if you're looking to talk some video games, join us on the Discord or follow me on Twitch for when I stream. This is Kawaii50, hoping you have a phenomenal day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.